Disventure Dispatch is back, and we're here coming at you with Jpeg, my co-host, and Ark, who's back again, and we're going to be talking about episode 25.
I never left.
So, I would like to ask Jpeg, what were your thoughts on the episode?
Okay, so at this point, I don't care about DC4. I'm not gonna say it's like one of the worst episodes ever, but it's got to be down there, right? It's got to be down there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. For me, I agree. I agree that the episode is not the worst episode for the season. But to be fair, it's been over a year. It's been a lot of the beginning part is fuzzy. There are episodes that I have genuinely, like, I was looking through the wiki and I was looking through them and I was like, I do not remember these episodes, like, at all actually happening. Like, this does not exist. So, you know, maybe if I look back at it, this will be the worst episode. It's in my bottom 5 for me, in terms of the episodes for this season. Yeah, that's my, like, base thoughts that I'll go into it later. But that's I did not enjoy this episode.
I did not enjoy a single part of this episode. Oh, well, there are a few parts. There's one singular part that I liked, but I will get to that later. But I do believe that this may be the worst episode of DC4, in my opinion.
Is it the worst episode?
Feel free to disagree with me in the comments.
Is it the worst episode of DC
Please disagree with him. No, not by any. In my opinion, the worst episode of DC is that fuck ass space episode in All Stars. I hate that episode with a passion, bro.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant, did I say DC or DC4?
You said
DC4. Jpeg was asking if it was the worst in history.
No, the worst episode is the spaceship episode in DC All Stars.
Not even the kissing episode.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Hate that episode so much.
Anyway,
what do you think is the worst episode of DC of all time?
The one where Maggie loses to rock paper scissors.
Rock paper scissors.
I mean, to be fair, that's gonna be like non-canon in like a month. So yeah.
Oh my god, you're literally spoiling the whole season. Oh my god.
Oh no.
How do we even crack this coconut of an episode?
Let's start at perhaps the beginning with the them giving the disadvantage thing. Maybe we start with that.
No. I want to go even earlier into the beginning. The fuck ass them
talking with different drinks.
Them drinking together. That scene pissed me off because it felt like the writers were telling us that these were the best characters. It felt a little bit out of character for Jade to be glazing Logan and Anastasia.
There's no one else I would have been here with.
Like, she was glazing them, and it would have been funny if this was like a backhanded comment, like if Jade was like, there's no one here I would have wanted to be here with instead of you, like saying that she'll decimate them later. That would have been really funny. But it felt like the writing insisting that these are the best finalists. And I don't recall a situation like that in previous seasons.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no, Miriam, Fiore, and Ellie just did not talk at all in the finale. Allie, Jake, and Rhea had that scene with a letter, but like they didn't really talk about each other being, glazed. I don't remember.
They tried being cool with each other in All Stars, and then they read the letter, and then all the drama happened with the letter. And then in DC2, no, they weren't, because none of them were cool with each other, because Rhea exposed Aiden and James, and Aiden and James didn't like it. So none of them were cool with each other.
Yeah, so
all of them hated each other.
The first like extended sequence where the finalists kind of glaze each other, and I think it would have been interesting if they had like 80% more chemistry. I'm not saying they have zero chemistry, but it's pretty down there.
Yeah,
it's pretty low.
And
yes.
When Emily came up and made the RuPaul's friendship race joke, that felt insulting. That felt insulting to me as the viewer, specifically because like it feels like it's making fun of the people who think that like this season is just all sunshines and rainbows.
This ain't RuPaul's best friends race. I love that line so much. I wish they used that line in like if they were to make a reference to that, I do wish the reference was a
Yeah.
little bit more clever.
No, she did
That
say
like
Emily Campbell's best friend race. That's what she said.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the reference was the thing.
Best
So
friend camp.
I just
Yeah.
wish for me
That was funner.
the scene really got me. It again emphasized the fact that the uh language that these guys use is so like outdated. Well, seasons past. When Jade said seasons past, that's where I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I get she's intellectual, but they just like dip into these times where they speak, and I don't believe that characters of their age, like Jade, maybe, but like
Jade's
Anas,
only 29.
yeah,
She's
but
not
like
old.
Anastasia and all that, like them talking in this like kind of like
Pseudo intellectual way.
indubitably,
Prose. In
like it,
prose, pretty much.
yeah, it's like I don't know, like they could be a little more simpler in
Yeah.
their diction, I guess.
Like Anastasia is my age and Logan is y'all's age. That's like insane to me.
Yeah.
Um, there was one line that Logan said, and it was like, "I'm the brain, or I'm the brawn. Jade's the brain. You're the. I mean, you're the brain. I'm the brawn." And it was just such a long line. I feel like the more comedic timing way would be like, "I'm the brain. You're the brawn, and Anastasia's the. I mean, she's also the brain, right? Like, keep it short." But it just went too
Yeah.
long, and it was just like, this is so
Or
corny.
just have him say it and then get mad at that.
Yeah. It's like, to me, it's just a symbolism of like how over explainy the season has been. You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
like a lot
They've
of
had a lot of moments where they keep going back on like where Logan says something and then goes back on what he's saying. Like lately, I've
yeah. When he
noticed. Like
jumped
that's
off
been
the
his joke.
thing, he was like, "Yeah, this is the water of the sea." Nope, too dumb for me. I was like, "Okay, all
Yeah.
right."
And then he did it last episode where he was saying or not like no, it was last episode. Where it was the making like the oceans or whatever about the game, like turning the tides of the game like the ocean, and then he was like, "It sounded better in my head." I was like, "No,
No, it's a good
I
line.
think
Why are
That
you
was
so
a good line.
insecure? Why are
That
you
was a good
insecure?
line. That was a clever line, and they should have the anxious writing that I've noticed, not just in DC, but like the anxious writing style of not actually committing to something. Like I think you've said this, sitting down and being like, "Oh, that's kind of corny, but I want to keep it in." So you make the character,
you make fun of it."
yeah, when like just play it straight. If people think it's corny, or don't put it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
but
ends
that
up
was
being
really my thing with the and then they did the whole, and that's what led them into the speech. The speeches, man. The whole.
Gosh. I Yeah, you go, Ark.
Well, okay, so I get that this was their take of like I guess a kind of like they're taking inspiration from Survivor, and so I don't hate the concept of you three voting against each other and like picking someone to have a disadvantage. Uh, I don't think it was needed, but I definitely can see why it happened. My main frustration was I do not like. I don't know. It's the way that Anastasia. I cannot. I don't know how to say her name. They keep saying it multiple ways throughout
It's
the
been
season,
25
and
episodes. I still don't know how to pronounce her
right, it's
name.
been 25 episodes. I don't know the correct way to say her name, but Anastasia. I'll say that was easier. Anastasia. Her read on Jade is inaccurate in my opinion. Where she was saying stuff about how Jade needs to learn that she hurts people in this game no matter what she does, and that that's something that her and Logan have already learned, and now it's Jade's turn. I don't, and I don't think that that is anything to do. I don't think Jade. Oh, she said, "Oh, Jade needs to learn that she's like you're no better than us." That confused me because I don't think anywhere in Jade's story she has ever thought that she is better than any of her fellow competitors. In fact, I think Jade's story throughout the season has been an internal battle of she's trying to think strategically, but she also is upset over the fact that she is hurting people. Like she's shown in multiple situations, she is aware that how she is playing can be perceived as kind of dirty and like not thinking with empathy, but that is how she is going to get farther in the game, and she can't be leading with emotions. And it would be one thing if the show kind of used that moment, and if the point of that scene is to be like, oh, Anastasia's being hypocritical, because that's how Anastasia played like really early. But I really feel like the show was using that moment, and I may be reading it off, but this is how I took it. That it was using it as like a gotcha moment of like, oh, Anastasia is making a really good point against Jade. When I don't think it was. I really don't think it was a clever point in the slightest against Jade.
Yeah, no, this whole season has just been like Logan and Anastasia like thinking they have like the writers thinking they have the moral high ground when for a lot of times they don't, and it's really annoying. Someone made a thread the
See,
other day which was like Logan's character like interrupting other characters' arcs, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so true. Yes,
I
Don.
did see that
so
though too.
the other thing is freaking Anastasia bringing up the idea of leaving Logan for dead. Putting aside my personal feelings on the matter, why did why is Logan getting so furiously angry at a girl that had nothing to do with his situation and not the production? Why is he getting so furiously angry with Jade and not Anastasia,
That's
who
what I
is
was talking about.
who is using a traumatic event in his life to manipulate and further his own game? He has been shown to be he has been shown to be intelligent enough to be able to clock these things, except when the writers want him not to, apparently.
Yeah. Gosh.
But
I Mhm. Oh, you
oh
go.
no, I couldn't think of a but.
I think for me,
JPEG, do you have?
the double whammy is that this scene, even though it's frustrating, at least it's character driven. But I think what was annoying to me
Yeah.
was that like I feel like 60 or 70% of the scene was still like strategy focused, and that's what annoyed me. I was like, no, just play it straight. Make this like a character moment, please. Don't make this a
Well, it
strategy
was.
thing. Like
It
I
was,
get that it's part of
but
strategy.
also
Hmm?
this was one of few. This was one of I was gonna say few. One of many scenes where they contradict themselves with either in the same episode or in a previous episode. Because during Logan's whole freakout, he's like, "The difference is Jade. I regretted what I did to Zayd. You don't." But 2 episodes prior, when Hannah was trying to expose the thing that Logan did, Logan's argument to Anastasia was that he didn't regret what he did to Zayd, and that it was all game move, and that everyone in the game hurts people, and so she's done the same, so she can't be mad. So him trying to like throw that in Jade's face and being like, the difference is I was a better person because I actually felt bad over what I did. You said like he said like 2 days ago that he doesn't regret what he did. So him trying to be like, him trying to like act like he has a moral high ground is so weird, in my opinion, honestly.
I hate this final three.
And
I just hate this final
I
three.
think I think he has full right to be mad. I'm not like crazy. I'm not saying he has full right to be upset over being quote unquote left for dead. Uh, Even though Jade was in the boat and her partner was an elderly old man that probably wouldn't have been able to help as much as,
Yeah.
two people who were already helping him. But he has the right to be upset over uh being like, honestly, if I were to do this, and this was what I was thinking with it, I wish they used the moment to make a character driven moment and have it be like part of the reason he's upset is because that incident caused him to now have a fear of water, which is going to kind of fuck up his whole career. He's an Olympic swimmer. And so I wish that was a point that was brought up, because then I'd feel like at least like he has a little bit more of like a solid ground to be especially mad at her.
Yeah, yeah.
But even then, she didn't cause him to get stuck in that hole. And so even then, it wasn't her fault for that to
This
happen.
season just feels like it has no consequences, you know? There's just no stakes. Like everyone just
Yeah.
we'll get into that later. But like my god, they just like ah. Um and like for me, like I don't come across as someone who gets like mad when people cry. But like Logan like just immediately getting to the waterworks like did really annoy me. I was like I feel like the buildup wasn't nearly as hitting as it could have been. I feel like there's been a lot of like moments in the past of DC where characters deserve to cry and they don't, and I'm proud of them for not like tearing up. But he was like drenched in tears. That was crazy.
I think it also like it's because of how much they make these characters cry and do like the sad eye moment. Is like when moments like that do happen, I can't really take it as serious, I guess, because it's already so overused. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the swearing where back in the day, if you swore, it was such a big deal because there were so few swears. But now that they swear every fucking episode, it's not special anymore, right?
Yeah,
Every fucking episode.
Yeah, that was on purpose.
that was a good one.
You guys see BoJack Horseman? BoJack Horseman, they in that show, they only have one F word per season, and so like when they pull it out, it's like the most intense moment because by limiting the use of the word, it's intense. But and or what I'm trying to say is that that's basically what they're doing with the crying because they cry so much in the season, it's not
Yeah,
special anymore.
yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah, the waterworks happening, it made the scene feel very melodramatic, and the cry didn't really feel deserved because not because I don't think he should be upset, like Ark said. I just think the whole situation was just plot convenience or to like get Logan mad at Jade.
Yeah,
And like I don't know, it's just it was just I don't know, man.
I think he
The,
should have also still been mad at Anastasia, and not to jump ahead, but the fact we will get to it when we get there. But at the end, when he's like, Anastasia is my the bestest friend and rival I could ever have. She held this information away from you too, man. Like, I'm just saying, she definitely is using this information to her advantage. She's not doing it for you, and I feel like you should be smarter.
he
In
is
this
smarter.
scenario.
He's identified. He's done. Granted, the Zayd thing was very smart. The Zayd getting rid of Zayd was very intelligent of him to do. Uh, it showed a problem solving skill that he had. I don't think it was him being cowardly. It was a calculation. IMO.
yeah,
But I mean, they didn't lean into it, so it just seems like
Mhm.
him being a pussy. I don't know.
yeah.
Getting
Okay, no. One
with
positive that I was, and this is the only positive out of like this whole scene, in my opinion, is that I'm like, I kind of like Emily as a host. I think she's a good host. It's the only positive.
I found Emily. I like Emily. I need to see. I'm excited for DC 5. I want to see what she does on her own. I did like this episode without without Trevor at all with her. I did like having her on her own,
Yeah, I did like that as
but
well.
I still I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more time with her to really like get this hosting thing going for me, especially if she's gonna be like a solo host. I've been saying that I think it would be funny if Natalia is first boot in DC 5, and then Emily's like, Natalia, you're gonna be my co-host, girl.
That would be
Then
fun,
Natalia
actually.
like fangirls over that.
That'd be fun. Gosh.
Um, I don't like Emily as a. I don't like any of the Disventure Camp hosts. The only host that had any star power was Crystal, and she was a bootleg Chris McLean ripoff.
I mean, it might change in the future. You never know. They might change that.
Well,
Oh,
I assume that she will in the remake, but I'm saying like Emily just doesn't have star power to me.
and why she
Like,
still got that cast on? That arm is for sure healed.
Yeah, it's been like a year. Gosh. I guess we'll see better in DC 5. You know, we'll see when she's by herself and has the full season to herself. I assume, right? Unless Trevor and Derek sabotage it again, but I don't think that's happening. um.
but like, ugh,
So before we
the
move on,
challenge.
let's read the comments that people have made in the chat. Which, by the way, if you want to join one of these future episodes, join our Discord server, and you can see the episodes live.
Good advertisement.
Very
Oh my
natural
god,
segue.
25 is so annoying. Oh my god, it was so annoying. Anna saying Jade hasn't learned that yet. PMO. IDK. I think it's the middle of the pack. Yeah, I thought it was an alright scene. Like each have worked with each other to some extent. Granted, I think Jade's saying that makes sense because she's friends with Logan, and Anna's the person she wanted in the end, so she could only beat her in jury. That's a fine
Well,
reason.
I just remembered, and this is unrelated. This is kind of going back, and this is quick. Jade's speech was ass. I'm sorry, it really was. I don't know what point that she was trying to make, where she was like, "Take the risk of it not being and it wasn't intellectual, but the fact that her speech was like, "I'm the least physical between you guys," and then Logan's like, "What if it's intellectual?" And she's like, "Well, maybe take the risk. Maybe let's hear me out. Maybe." Take a chance that it's not 50-50 shot, and don't give it to me. If it's not, then you're good. If it is, then I guess I kick your ass. I don't know, but I if in my opinion, don't use it on me. Like that's what her speech pretty much was. It was so fucking funny.
God.
Think shit. I think in an esoteric sense that opening scene made sense, but to me it just didn't feel deserved from a story standpoint. Because the purpose of that scene was to further the idea that these characters are the best for that position. And due to the fact that it wasn't very casual, it was like a glazed sesh. That's why the scene didn't feel deserved. Yeah, that's my opinion on your comment. My main thing is that Anna brought up the Jade thing, leaving Logan for dead way too long. Yeah, I agree with that. It's actually more manipulative of Anastasia to do it than Jade holding it in, because if you were
Look,
if you remember, Jade made an active effort to be friends and like an attempt to atone for her mistake without saying she made the mistake, whereas Anastasia just held that in until now to use it as a dart to hurt Jade and in a sense hurt Logan enough to get him to not think straight and get wrapped around her finger. And like that's it. This would all be like kind of cool in a vacuum if this wasn't obviously plot convenience.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't like Anna and Logan being rude to Jade. I was like, what the fuck? That's rude. You guys are mean.
Jade apologist over here. Oh my god.
I just
No,
feel
I
like,
agree.
yeah.
I felt like it was really weird because of the three, I feel like Jade has done the least wrong. And then it suddenly became a Jade, you're the worst person in the world kind of
I'm wondering if
situation.
the
And I'm like,
writers were under the impression that like Jade would be the most hated out of these three. And I'm wondering if they thought this was like catharsis for that. Because I remember in like early
yeah.
DC 4, when this was being written, Jade would always be criticized for being like a strategy bot. This was before all the Logan and Anna hate started coming out, you know? Because I can say
Mm-hmm.
safely that when we were writing All Stars, the last 3 episodes, 19, 20, and 21, were written with the first 6 episodes in mind, with the feedback, and that's why Hunter is a little better in those episodes. That's why Ellie acknowledges the money, you know, that she loves Gabby, etc., etc. Like those kinds of like damage control. Um, so I'm wondering if that's what this is. If we're watching damage control from the early DC 4 episodes.
I could see that.
Gosh,
Jade is straight home from
But not to get too caught up on this on the first, like, what, 15 minutes? Not even, like, 10 minutes of the episode.
okay.
why
Anyway,
don't Anna and Logan hit each other, or why does he constantly downplay her? Yet anyone else she cuts her as a woman. Yet anyone else she cuts them off immediately. Yeah, exactly. Why is Anastasia okay with Logan's existence at this point? It makes
And
no
we'll get
sense to
into that when we get to the end. Because
we will get into that.
I'm not gonna
I get
harp on this too much. I'm not gonna harp on this too. And Gon just mentioned it now. It is a little uncomfortable that the one man that she likes is like the white man. It's like that's a little weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little like oof. I don't know.
Well, shall we move on to the challenge?
Yes,
There's
Donald.
one thing that I would like to say.
Yes.
The challenge opening up with Jade being like, I know I'm not going to win, but I'm going to stop Anastasia from winning.
But she didn't say she wasn't going to. She said that her original goal was to win immunity, but now her goal is to make sure just Anastasia doesn't win, to make sure she
Well,
loses.
that's besides the point. She's still verbalizing the fact that her goal is to stop Anastasia from winning.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I thought the challenge was lackluster, especially considering this season has had pretty good challenges. Actually, I think it's had some of the best in the series. Obviously, there are a few duds. I did not like the raft challenge, but that's not the point. The challenge was very okay, and like the beef between Anastasia and Jade was kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
For example, Anastasia says, what does she say? I forget what she said, but she says the same thing twice.
She says, "This is payback. This is payback for
Well, I guess you can call that payback.
call it revenge the first time, and she's like, call it payback for the second time." She said essentially the same thing.
She's like a villain, like NPC character in a video game. You're not getting away with this.
But despite me finding the challenge a little lackluster, it was broadly inoffensive until the end, where Logan was diving off to get the pick, and Jade was like, "What do I say?" And Anastasia was like, "What do I do?" That felt like
Theater
mic
kid
drop.
energy.
That felt like mic drop. But even Jade didn't want to sabotage Logan.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was. She should be happy that Anastasia was about to lose.
Do you know
But
Do you know that scene in
Mhm.
Avengers Endgame where Captain America is fighting Captain America, and then to distract him, he says, "Bucky is alive." You know that scene? Please
I
tell me.
do know that scene.
Okay, that's what this whole challenge felt like to me. It's just like, hey, Anastasia, remember Zayd? Remember Marissa? And then she's like, ah!
Well,
Like that's
the
what the whole
first
challenge felt like
time
to me. I didn't like it.
the Zayd line I thought was clever. I was like, oh, I could see how that does frazzle her. The first time she fumbled, I don't know how that counted as like a fumble for Anastasia when Jade's like, how are you gonna feel when you see your when you see Marissa? Because all Jade is saying was like, how are you gonna feel when you see your loving girlfriend who loves you unconditionally? And that like startled the fact that startled Anastasia. Ah, I'm loved.
Look, I get it's a
Like
cartoon, it's meant to be exaggerated, but I thought this was a bit much. I was like, okay, this is, I don't know.
for me, this challenge, I think that this season has the best challenges. I went through every season. I looked up all the challenges to see. I think this season has the best challenges of all 4 seasons that they've done.
Yeah.
Especially coming
I
off of All Stars, where I feel like a lot of them were lackluster. uh, but for this one, it just felt a little mediocre. I love a good. I like bungee jumping. I like the cliff dives. I like all that. It felt like there should have been another part, uh, because it got a little repetitive after a bit of them just climbing, jumping, failing, climbing, jumping, failing. It didn't really like move anywhere, and so it felt like there should have been like, I don't know, maybe like,
A second step, maybe. You know that Redonkulous race challenge where
yeah,
it's like, yeah, they have to jump higher and higher or whatever? Maybe like that?
yeah,
Yes.
maybe something like that. Maybe a puzzle thing that they have to like find piece. Like if it was, if they took like they could have done something where it's like different levels of it, and so they have to find a piece in each level. And in Jade, because she has a disadvantage, she has to find an extra piece of whatever puzzle they have to do. I don't know. It just felt like I can't think of right now a solid one, but it just felt like there had to be like a second part other than just the jump and take a picture.
Yeah, it was a bit lackluster for the second to last challenge, right? So
Yeah.
Another random thing was that, uh, and this is likely an oversight and not a problem, but like, freaking Emily being like, "There will be no time between this challenge and the jury," and then there's an entire
It's
afternoon.
night. The challenge ended in like mid noon, and then they meet the jury at nighttime. They definitely had like a solid at least like 3-4 hours between to be able to like do whatever.
I didn't even notice that. That's so funny. Oh my god.
That was like the first where she was like, immediately. No, it wasn't immediately. You're a big fat liar, actually, Emily. I don't know what you're talking about. Uh, but the challenge, yeah, it just was. It just kind of. I don't think it was like bad necessarily. It just was kind of like there. Like it felt like
It felt like an
whatever.
early merge
Honestly,
challenge, but they put it in like the second last episode. So, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I will say Emily said a line that, and granted, I think she like Anastasia because they were breaking all their phones in the beginning, and then Anastasia jumped without breaking her phone, and then Emily goes, This is somehow the most expensive challenge," and I was like, she literally could have said that any other time when they broke their phone. I just found it very humorous that Anastasia didn't break anything or was like, she did the challenge fine, and Emily's now complaining about like as if she did just break another thing. That was the one thing I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Logan winning was expected, and like the one outcome that I wanted either Jade or Logan to win to secure that Jade spot.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
Hmm.
I'm just surprised they didn't make reference of the fact that he's not going to be bronze because he's not going to be third place in the season, and like they didn't really do anything with that.
They did.
Oh, they did. Oh, I'm stupid.
It was like it was like a small moment where he was like where she was like Logan secured himself in the final two, and then he like grabbed Emily and jumped up and down and was like, I did it, I'm not bronze, like it was just that, but it didn't play. Other than that, he never brought it up.
Oh, I see. Because I thought that would be like a big moment for him. So it's like okay,
Yeah.
that's at least it's there.
I The other thing, and this comes a little bit at the end, I'm confused. And I've always been confused because I was always like, why is no one targeting Logan? And it's just because of how much reality television I do watch, where like Logan has shown time and time again that he has not been a solid ally. And so realistically, he should not have people's trust. So that's why it's a little frustrating for me whenever people are like, whenever like the characters in the show kind of forgive him unconditionally without any like repercussions for what he does,
Yeah.
for how many times he's betrayed people. But I bring this up just because I'm confused as to why suddenly they are like, oh, I don't want to go up against Logan in a jury vote, which confuses me because then why didn't you take the opportunity to vote Logan out in previous, especially Jade, when she said this? She was like the person who pushed to get Isabel out. So why didn't you use that moment to take out Logan? It kind of it feels like they flip flop between Logan is beloved by the jury and Logan is not, because sometimes they're like keeping Logan is the best thing for me, and then the next episode they're saying the full opposite, and it feels like there's just a little bit of a disconnect between what's happening.
Anastasia should have taken out Logan because that would have been a free vote in the jury because Logan would have been like, "It's okay, Anastasia, it's okay."
I love you for who you are, Anastasia.
Yeah.
We're not dissing the voice actor. The voice actor is great. Just I hate
They're
Logan.
great. They're
The
very
voice
good.
actors have been good. There are no complaints on that realm.
Oh man. I don't know. There was one line he said. This is such a minor point, but he said "womp womp," and that like made me mad. I just got so mad at him
I
when he said
can't
that.
stand.
I want to
Oh my
strangle him.
god. Okay. He said that. I cannot stand when he says womp womp. And maybe I'm a little Debbie Downer, little asshole or whatever. And I'm sorry for that. But the last time he said it, it was when him and Richard were bottom of the totem pole of their team and they needed an advantage to save them. And they found one, left it, and then it got stolen from them. And then he was like, womp womp. And I just was thinking about if I was in Richard's shoes in that situation and he did that, I would be so annoyed because I'm like, this is shut up. This
What,
is literally
what was
our like life in the game, bro, and you're acting like it's a joke.
Uh,
Don't piss
what
me
was
off.
that? What was that news report where it's like, someone, this girl has been dismembered and murdered. Womp womp. Did you say womp womp?
Logan.
That's how I felt, bro. But it's so like small. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
he did stuff. Whenever he did that, I was like, bro, don't piss me off. Like literally, don't.
I hope
The thing
this.
that pissed me off about Logan was when he said, "Yeah, that's what I thought."
Oh my god. It was a lot of gotcha moments. A lot of gotcha there.
Gosh.
No.
I hope this makes people realize that Jake and Allie, when they're fucking frustrating, that's the point. They're supposed to be frustrating. Like Logan, I feel like he's so frustrating unintentionally. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Anyway, I think we need to
Well,
get to the
congrats
best part
on
of the
winning.
episode. Dawn's favorite part of the episode, the jury stuff.
Yay, the jury.
Dawn loves this part.
This pissed me off because it was a culmination of all of the things that have pissed me off up to this point. Okay, first of all, them freaking writing it so that Anastasia can't have a jury speech. The fuck? Why? Natalia. Who did I say?
You said Anastasia.
Oh, Natalia. Having not being able to have a jury question. Them writing that out just for them to be like, oh, we have enough time to have everyone have a jury question. What? Why? Okay, so you padded out the episode at the front so they could have these little fuck ass speeches that were somewhat useless, and then the actual section where it makes sense to have a monologue, you cut it short. What are we doing?
Yeah, it just screamed budget cuts to me, and it's like that's like not the best place to put a budget cut. That's like really, why are we putting it there?
Yeah, I wish we heard all of them. I will say it cleared up a confusion for me, and I wish it didn't need to be a confusion, but like the fact that it cleared up that Natalia was lying during the jury segment of the round table, and she does still have like beef with Anastasia and is salty about that. I'm glad that they acknowledged it and that she actually is still upset at Anastasia and didn't randomly just think like, oh, she's a girl boss queen or whatever. But I also am confused as to why they even made Natalia lie during the jury segment. Like that, it did nothing. Like, what was the point of her lying about liking Anastasia?
Make it surprising when we gag all of those viewers when Natalia actually hates Anastasia and
But it
was
wasn't
lying.
even like a big moment. Like it didn't even like bring real focus to it. It literally was just Marissa being like, "I knew you were lying." We didn't. We didn't. She seemed very genuine. She's very convincing.
Yeah, a lot of this writing just seems
But
like damage control, and I hate it.
okay, so the first question, who is it from?
Amelie.
Amelie. Amelie asked why it was like, why do you think that your game was the superior game?
Yeah.
And then Anastasia was like, oh, my game is better because I was logically consistent the whole time, unlike that woman. And like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever,
God.
cool.
I will say,
Uh,
this is
yeah.
what I will say. There was a reference to The Devil Wears Prada. Emily made a reference to The Devil Wears Prada. I was not mad about the millennial reference because at this point I've given up. At this point I've just accepted that these characters sound like millennials.
You-
What I was annoyed about is that they made the subtext text because I'm assuming Amelie was inspired by that character in The Devil Wears Prada. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that you're making it so obvious what Amelie's inspiration is. That would be like if you went to Lil and you were like, oh, Lil from Survivor, Pearl Islands. It's like, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I see
I don't
it.
even know what The Devil Wears Prada is.
It's like
It's
a
a movie.
Um,
It's like a movie. It's a movie. It's like a movie.
or like what's like
It's kind of
another
like
example? What's another example? Or like when like if you go to Linda, you're like, oh, which they actually did. They're like, oh, Linda from Fargo. It's like, why do we make the reference so obvious? Jesus Christ, it's the most surface level
they
comparison
do
you can
that.
make. It pisses me off.
They did that a lot with a lot of references where they did that, not to like go back to All Stars, but they did that when Aiden like ran over Alec in the superhero, and then Jake goes like, "Holy A Train!" It's like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we get
okay,
it, we
fine.
know what the reference is, we get it.
You replicated the fucking scene frame, like shot for shot. We know what the reference is. You don't have to.
Or-
Oh, get it? It is from the boys animated, not animated, live action show.
Okay, the worst one was the Ivy with the fucking stick one. That one like pissed me off still. Not because she was mean to Benji. I don't mind that part. Because the reference, like, okay, all right, we're just forcing the fucking reference now.
But
For Amelie,
Yeah.
I felt I felt like her question was fine. I liked her question. Uh and the answers didn't frustrate me that much. It felt like and this is what I felt even with the jury uh portion is that I feel like they don't even know what their games are. Because if I was Anastasia, I feel like a bit, and they kind of touched on it, I guess, with Jade being like, you only survive because of competitions. You had to win competitions in order to like survive. I feel like that should have been a bigger part. That Anastasia, of the three people, Anastasia is the one who was the most targeted, and she still ended up in the top three. And so I feel like that should have been a major point that she brings up as to why her game is superior. That many people wanted her out, and she was able to outlast them all by any means necessary. And she didn't really touch on that. I feel she didn't like say that, yeah, I beat you bitches. You know, like I feel like she could have said something along those lines. But that's where like my frustration. And then I don't even Jade basically well, I don't even really understand what Jade's whole spiel was fully, honestly.
that she was playing not emotionally, she was playing analytically, she was playing strategically, and she wasn't doing it
Yeah.
to upset people. She was just doing what was right. She was being efficient, pretty much.
And then Anastasia was like, "That's all we know from you," or whatever. Like that's the only thing you're known for.
And I'm like,
Fucking
clock,
damage control.
but also, fuck you, Anastasia.
The in character in universe character is saying, "Jade, you're a game bot."
You know I'm more than just Ivy's boyfriend. I hate that. I hate that so much.
Those references like that, where they acknowledge fan critique, sometimes feels like just a slap. Because, like, oh, we know what you're doing, but.
Well, I hate when a lot of times it feels like also trying to predict what the fans are going to be feeling, and it just doesn't work a lot of the time. Like them doing that instead, like them being like, "Oh, we knew that Zayd was going to be seen as only Ivy's boyfriend, or Jade was going to be seen as only a game bot." Those opinions aren't coming out of nowhere. Those opinions are coming out of your writing. So if you see that you're writing a character and you see that that's going to be something that is said, maybe change the writing, you know, or like, try to like manipulate in some type of way to make sure that the fans don't say that if you don't want the fans to say that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is next? Who has the next question?
Benji, and
Benji.
he asked a question specifically to Jade where he acknowledged that we do see that you are a strategic person, but we want to know the real you outside of the game.
That was a fucking layup for Jade. That was a layup for Jade. She could have easily freaking probably swayed a bunch of people by just telling them, "Well, I grew up with two moms and I grew up with vitiligo, so that made me tough." Like some shit like that to sway the vote. But instead she's like, "Oh, the real me isn't important." Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know why because I don't see Jade as someone who's been like cagey about her emotions. I feel like there's been a lot of moments where Jade had been open about how she's feeling. That's the whole reason she became friends with Benji and befriended people like Isabel and all that. I feel like she has had moments where she has been open about how she is outside of the game and any insecurities that she has. And she's definitely been open to the audience about it, like in confessionals. So I don't know why at that moment she was like, the real me is so bad. You don't want to see the real me. Focus on the fact that I game bot it all day. Please, please, please. Also, why did they act for Anastasia? I don't know why Jade was like. I mean, I guess he's kind of cringy, but they're friends. So when Benji was like, "I'm back, the Benjinator," I don't know why Jade was like, ew. Like, girl, that's your friend. You know how he is. Like, let's calm down.
God, I'm excited for him in DC 5. I hope he's not killed immediately. I hope he's cute. I hope they don't give him like a love plot. He's just cute.
I hope all the DC 4 characters are killed
Uh,
instantly, actually. I hope they're all taken out one by one, by one by one.
I don't want to sound like a fucking
what
broken
I'm
record, but this pissed me off. This was like I was like, fuck off with the forgiveness
Yeah.
bullshit.
Because his question was, why did you believe Logan over me? Or why did you believe Logan about me for like the betraying thing about that I
and
was the one who betrayed you?
and the answer pretty much boiled down to because I did okay.
Yeah.
Like
God.
it didn't actually answer the question literally at all. And then Zayd was like, I forgive you.
Yeah.
What?
God. Look, I'm
No.
not Mr. Anti-Forgiveness. DC All-Stars is forgiveness fucking season. But like, fuck, it needs to feel
Yeah.
earned. It needs to feel earned. I don't think that was earned at all. Like,
From
not even remotely.
from from Zayd's point of view, or from Zayd as a character, I think that him forgiving Anastasia makes sense. And Anastasia apologizing to Zayd about that, I feel makes sense. It's just mostly my frustration with it was her explanation where she was like, well, uh I was paranoid because everyone that I've trusted had hurt me in some type of way. And then she was like, and when Marissa went home, that was the catalyst of my emotions. And then Zayd was like, I hoped you. And she was like, you did. And that's why when I learned about that information, I felt even more like upset. But then it all boils back down to the fact that she was so quick to forgive Logan, where I don't like it just felt like it made very little sense for her to forgive Logan, and even in this episode feel like some way like a kinship with Logan still, but not she couldn't have that towards Zayd. You know, if I were Zayd, I'd be a little bothered where I'd be like, why are you not mad at Logan right now then? If you were so upset about it, why when Logan admitted that I was a scapegoat, why didn't you get mad at him for making you lose your only other ally in the game at the time, like back to back after losing your girlfriend, you know?
Go before I change my mind. You're supposed to giggle because that's a reference to her immediately forgiving Logan after finding out about the Zayd thing for no fucking reason.
God. I don't know, man. I look at previous
That was
seasons.
bad.
Look, I get it. From a survivor standpoint, some players will not be salty. They will not hold grudges. But this is a fictional show, and it has to feel earned. And it just does not feel earned in my head. Like, I'm
Well, but the
happy
thing
that
is,
Zayd is emotionally mature. I'm happy for him. But, like, at the same time, I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah. I think
but also
Zayd being salty would have been very fun, actually,
Yeah,
in
that
my
would have been
opinion.
fun.
he should have been butthurt, but they needed to create a scenario where it wasn't obvious that Jade was gonna win. So whatever.
Yeah.
Next was Spencer.
Where he asked Jade, was I ever an ally to you, or was I just like a vote for you to drag along until I wasn't needed anymore? Which was the question that kind of peeved me personally.
And so Jade, her response properly explained that she didn't, and I think her response was good. But the fact the question was even asked at all pissed me off.
And I guess they kind of acknowledged that. They kind of, where Jade was like, I could be asking you the same thing. And he's like, well, I'm not the one in the hot seat, am I? Uh, but from my point of view, and again, it's been a long season, so I could be misremembering some stuff. But there has never been a point where I think Jade showed Spencer that she didn't value him as an ally. Any game move that involved Spencer, Jade let Spencer in on. It wasn't like she was hiding stuff from him. And it was mostly Spencer who betrayed Jade at 3 different instances without telling her, where he did it. He got rid of Diego behind her back. Uh, what else did he do? He tried voting her out. He full on voted for her to leave. And then he did one other thing. I forgot what, but I remember he did 3 things against her where I was like, at this point, she should be done with him. Like, she genuinely should. Like, he betrayed her multiple times. I don't think there was any time where Jade ever intended on betraying Spencer, and the only reason she flipped on Spencer is because she realized that, oh, Spencer's not as good as an ally as I thought he was, and Isabel is a much better person to be with than Spencer is.
Marissa. Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
But
Freaking
talk about
was
throwing your girlfriend under the bus. Like, damn.
was there ever a time that you played the game and put someone above the game? And she couldn't say anything. That was bad. That was fuck. That was fucked.
Bro, when Logan stood up, bro, the way that I got the way I got so annoyed when he stood up. I can though.
Also, the scene could have
One,
been easily written in a way that makes Anastasia look intelligente. Or well, no, the way that I'm about to suggest couldn't have worked with the story because it would have flipped a bunch of people to Anastasia. But consider the fact that earlier in the episode, Anastasia is throwing Jade under the bus about not saving Logan, right?
Yeah.
This question would have been an easy way to answer. Oh yeah, I went to go help Logan instead of finishing the challenge. And you know who didn't? Jade. Jade values whereas I've done bad things, I still value certain base things over this competition. She couldn't even say that. And literally the night before, she had this huge, big rehearsed speech to fuck with Logan, and she couldn't say anything. Like, really?
I'm gonna be for real.
Well, for me with it, it was basically, and I see there are these moments where I wish the show would capitalize on like certain stuff that happens, and it happened earlier where I was like with the whole Jade and the leaving Logan, where I wish Logan brought up the fact that he like, oh, I have a fear of water now. You like fucked up, like you not helping me. Genuinely, like if having being upset about that. I wish that someone brought up the fact because they used the moment of Logan talking for Anastasia and being like, Anastasia's the best ally and rival I've ever had, and then everyone was like, that's good, that's good. I wish they brought up the fact that Anastasia couldn't even think of a time where she was thinking for others and not herself should speak way more than the fact that Logan perceived a time as she thought about me instead of her. Because even then, when like she agreed, she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did. I guess that did happen."
God. I wish Logan had a mute button for
And
this
then
one. I wish we just like muted him the whole time.
yeah. And then
I
the
wish he was
final
muted.
piece
And then the final beast, my favorite character, in my
Isabel.
opinion,
Isabel.
Isabel, Queen of DC4, should have been in fans versus favorites. Should have won the whole season. Could still win the whole season, in my opinion, if she comes back at the end and just wins. I think that's very possible.
You never know.
Uh,
That's the
Did
ultimate
piss me
gotcha
off
moment.
with
You were
this.
like, gotcha, you thought we were incompetent writers? No, we know you wanted Isabel to win. Here you go.
I would forgive the whole season if that happened. Honestly, I would.
I love Isabel, but she did piss me off with the line of questioning with the glaze sesh that she gave Jade, because getting rid of Isabel was actually a bad move. At the very least, it was a neutral move because it didn't actually further Jade's game other than getting rid of her close ally for no reason.
God.
So that glaze annoyed me. Though it did do good for Jade's character to show that, like, she's not exactly emotionless, blah blah blah. But I do have to say this episode made me like Jade a lot more.
I agree. No, I definitely agree with you.
I agree. Well, I like Jade, but I agree that she was very likable in this. It was because the episode was trying to frame her as bad, and the audience, at least me, audience, was looking at it, I was like, Jade is not as bad as y'all are trying to make her seem. Like, so I'm feeling sympathy for her. I'm
Yeah,
like,
because
this
we
is
dislike Logan and Anastasia way more. If you look at the polls throughout
yeah,
Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, Logan and Anastasia are super unpopular. It's kind of shocking,
yeah.
actually. Because I feel like that is the exact
Uh,
opposite of what they were going for, right?
yeah, it had to have been. They had to. I feel like they didn't do as good as of a job as they wanted with having this push and like having, I guess, a bad side to Jade, because I don't think Jade really did anything bad all season. I guess you argue to argue the whole leaving Logan for dead thing, I guess, is like her like the worst of the worst. But even then, I feel like that's speaking in hyperbole, because it wasn't like she left him for dead. He was getting saved no matter what, you know? Like
Yeah.
her involvement there not did not affect if Logan got saved faster or slower. Honestly, probably slower with Richard, honestly, if I'm going to speak truthfully. If Richard went down there, I do think it'd probably be slower. But whatever, that's my thing. With the question that was asked, I think it makes sense that Isabel was the one to be like, taking me out was the smartest move. Isabel has been shown she has a kind of big ego about herself. Uh and so I think her thinking that like me being taken out of the game equals the best move in Disventure Camp history, I think that makes sense for her character. And so her telling that to Jade, I did like. I also just liked her line where Emily was asking her, Hannah, and Richard who wants to go up. And she was like, me. It's what God would want. Like, that did get a good laugh out of me. Uh, yeah, I
Gosh.
don't know. I didn't have an issue with her question. I definitely felt like Jade, I guess it makes sense that Jade opened up with Isabel, because this was when Jade started to finally be like real with them and was like, guys, I do feel bad. Like, if honestly, I know I strategy and I gamebot and all that, but the relationships I feel with you guys, they were genuine. So doing these moves, it wasn't like I was an emotionalist person. I like felt bad about taking you guys out, and I regret doing it because I was losing friends. And so that's where I think it turned the tides for her personally. But I do agree that the move itself, like from an outside view, was not the smartest move at the top 5 for Jade. So it should not have been regarded as like the best move. But Isabel saying it's the best move, I think makes sense.
It it makes sense. It makes sense when you explain it like that. The reason why I didn't like it is because sometimes it feels like the writing is affirming itself. And that's what the Jade thing felt. That's what the Isabel question felt like to me. It felt
Hmm.
less like characterization and more like the writing affirming itself. The same complaint that I had with the beginning of the episode. It felt like the writing affirming itself. Oh yeah, these are the best finalists. Yeah, Jade, that was a great move that you did. That was so good. It's awesome.
I
God.
can
You know,
see. And there are times where I catch myself where I'm like, am I giving the writers too much credit, or is this like what their intent was? Very clever. And then as I was thinking, I was like, that's probably not what they're going for. I'm just probably adding stuff. And so
Gosh.
there's it's fully possible that's happening here, where they are affirming and trying to be like, getting rid of Isabel was smart, guys, right? Right? Right, audience, right? Isabel was the right? There
Wink.
is
Right,
there is a
audience.
full chance,
Agree with us.
right, audience? That there is a chance that that's what they're doing, and it's not a characterization moment. I took it as, I'm Isabel and I'm amazing, so getting rid of me is amazing. You know, that's what I took it as.
It's like when you get like someone says something smart and you're like, this guy's smart, and I'll tell you why it's smart. It's-
Yeah.
you're trying to like piggyback off
I
someone
would I
else.
would agree with you if there was exactly one other time when they acknowledged that it was a bad move.
Yeah.
And until they do that, then it's to me it's affirmation.
That's true.
Two more things. One, I wasn't like annoyed. This didn't like piss me off, but I was a little sad that Hannah and Richard didn't really get to say anything. I was kind of like, oh, Richard's gonna say something not about Logan. It's gonna be interesting, but no, he didn't say anything.
I was
That was
so annoyed when he was like, I was just gonna congratulate them. Why are you here? Why are you here?
Stop
I
it.
was just gonna say I was just gonna say they did a really good job. Richard, don't. Ooh, I would have rather you said nothing this episode. I wish you said something like I wanted to hear their challenge. I wanted to hear Hannah's for sure, especially after last episode where she was like, "I can't wait till your fates are in my hands."
And she
Because
doesn't
then
do anything.
it was,
And she didn't say anything. It's
and
budget
she didn't have to
cuts.
say shit.
Look, I get it. Maybe it's like, oh no, they have nothing to say compared to like what they would say to Logan. But it's like, it's interesting then. Like, I want to see their interactions outside of Logan, right? That would have been cool. Their
Yeah,
thoughts.
it would have been nice.
Well.
Natalia's, I didn't mind that much. I kind of liked the gag of the, and because you keep interrupting me, you don't get to say your question. But I do think that even though they were gonna, that wasn't as needed because no matter what, she just wasn't going to be able to say her question anyways. Because
That would have been a gag if they didn't cut off the fucking thing, bruh.
yeah,
But
can you
it's like,
imagine if Big Brother did that? If they were like, we don't have time for all you jurors to say something now anymore, so like only one of y'all can, yeah.
It was definitely time constrained, so I'm like, it's fine, but like still, it's annoying.
but if there
It's
was time
annoying.
constraints, how about you guys cut out the fucking padding in the earlier part of the episode so that the time for the jurors to shine actually shined?
Anyway, so they do the vote. It's a 5-4 vote, and I don't know. It felt a little artificial to me. Like I felt like, how do we manipulate it so it's the most intense vote configuration, right? Which would be a 5-4. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Benji, Isabel, Natalia, obviously. Those are layups.
Spencer.
Spencer, that's 5.
That's
And
fair.
the sixth, the what 4? Sorry. This fifth one had to have either been Richard or Hannah.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we could figure it out because they did the handwriting thing. I'm sure someone on Twitter is gonna post the handwritings and actually I'm sure it's on the wiki right now, actually. Let
No, the
me
episode's not out yet.
Oh wait, no, it's not. I'm so stupid. You can cut
Yeah, this
that part
was
out.
recorded in
Cut that part
a
out.
day before the episode came out.
Cut that part out. Cut that part out.
I will, I will.
But
But yeah, Anastasia gets
uh
eliminated, and okay. Look, there's still one episode to go, but like, it felt a little anticlimactic. Where
yeah.
it's like, this is how we're losing her.
Yeah, I don't know the handwriting for like verbatim, so I don't know who. I think Spencer writes in cursive, if I'm thinking correctly. I don't
Yeah.
know, but but Jade's for sure votes were Spencer, Isabel, Benji, Natalia, and then I think her other vote was Amelie because Amelie was like, I'm voting for who I think played most similarly to me, which I also thought was funny because when she went up to ask her question, she was like, I'm putting my personal game aside. Well, no, you didn't.
I
You
think that
definitely
was,
did not do that.
I think that was intentional hypocrisy, though. I will give that one to the
I do
writers.
think that. But I think those were her 5 votes, so that means that Anastasia got Zayd, Marissa, Hannah and Richard, which
Why would
Hannah and
Hannah?
it just feels weird. I don't know. It feels like they didn't that maybe that again that maybe that's why they didn't have Hannah and Richard speak low key because they were like, oh, who would they vote for? Let's just say that they want Anastasia to win over Jade for some reason. You
Yeah,
know,
let's just make it a 5-4 vote when it could easily have just been a
I'm
7 to
kind of
2.
sick of the and I get it's a suspense thing, but like I'm kind of over the whole.
Like 1 vote margin.
Uh, I'm kind of open to. Yeah, like come on. I feel like Jade should for sure have. I think Jade should have had Richard vote. Honestly, I think at most this could have been a 6-2, a 6-2-3. Honestly, and I don't think it would have been that shocking or like I feel like the suspense still could have kept up. You know, I don't think it needed to be a 5-4 buzzer beater type situation.
Yeah, no, like throughout DC 1 and DC All Stars, we were actively trying not to do that because in the original DC 2, every vote is like 5 to 3 to 1. Like someone throws away their vote like a dumbass. Usually Aiden. But you know, we didn't want to do that for DC 1 and DC All Stars, and I'm kind of sad that they went back to it in DC 4. Like the most egregious to me was the 5 to 3 vote at the final 10. That really annoyed me. I was like, really?
At what? The 5 to 3 to 3 what?
The 5 to 3 vote at the final 10, the Benji one.
Mm.
That's the one that was like, ugh, we're really doing this?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It feels like they want a lot of suspense at some points, and but realistically, I don't think people would be so split all the time. But it also comes down to how they format eliminations a lot of the time. Because a lot of the time, and this happened mostly with Spencer, where it is the beginning of the episode, they're like, if Spencer loses the challenge, Spencer is going home no matter what, you know? But then there's like after the challenge, someone's like, what if we get rid of our ally? And then they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then it becomes a one vote margin. And so that's kind of where it kind of always goes, I think. And Logan has his whole I'm gonna win this to his mom after grabbing the camera, feeling very too close for comfort. Don't touch me.
Yeah. Go away before I call the police, Logan. JPEG, I would like to discuss our little bet. Are
Yeah.
you still sure about Jade's winning age?
Yes, because like if Logan wins, that will be the biggest meltdown in all of Disventure Camp. That would be so funny. So I mean, as funny as
So
it would be, I
here's
would want Jade to win. Yep.
my reasoning for why I think Logan's still going to win is quite simply that last, hey mom, hey dad, I'm gonna win. And so the reason why is because I feel like if Jade is going to win, it's going to that scene would have either been for Jade or it would have been both the characters. So the fact that they distinctly only chose Logan to be like, all right, guys, you're gonna see me win.
I don't know. I
I still
I
think it's
still
Logan.
think I still think Jade's gonna win. Personally, I still think
I
that
I can see your logic
Jade
better than I
versus
could
me.
before, Don. That's what I'll say. I can see your logic better now because of this
I
episode.
can as well, but I'm 10 toes down, Jade. Especially after this episode, I'm not. I don't want even in my mind thinking anywhere that Logan's gonna win. I am Jade. On the Jade train. Till the season finishes, and then I'll not think about her again.
Yeah. Yeah, Jade is like my favorite by default at the moment.
Yeah, I think she has. I think she's gonna win for sure. That's my thing. I think that especially depending on what the finale is, if it is like getting help or whatever, I could see her arc coming like full circle where her besties, her friends come in and help her, and it's like wow, power of friendship really does it all. And I and even though I was like a strategic person, I still valued my friend, that kind of vibe or whatever. But I still think Jared's gonna win.
Oh yeah.
Hey, remember, we have our bet.
Yes, we do.
I don't even remember what the terms were, but we have a
There's a
bet.
Luke greeting from Adversity Hotel.
Right.
Mhm.
That's what it was. All right.
Um, so I would like to tell you guys a story.
Oh yeah.
A story of when I went to the Appalachian Mountains. There, my friend Mike saw like a spooky uh
Harry
black
Skeleton.
line. That was scary.
A mountain lion.
He was
Jesus.
like in the woods, so that was scary.
Is that how we're closing the episode?
Yeah, that's how we're
Yeah.
closing it. All right,
Goodbye.
everyone.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. I miss you.